Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 219 of Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. My name is Summer Rain.
My name is Patrick Nisley.
My name is David Howe.
Hello, I'm Jordan.
And boy, oh boy, do we have a very special episode for you today. We are going to be ranking the 2D Zelda games. We love a rankings episode. Always a great way to produce content. But before we get into our main topic, we are going to address some news, talk about how Pikmin has been doing since that came out recently. Also, Sakurai is just still not done talking about his baby Super Smash Brothers. But before all of that, how are we all doing?
Doing okay. Yeah, doing pretty good. I did some like medical stuff today. I went to MD Anderson in Houston and finally met with who's going to be like kind of my team going forward down there. Huge campus, really kind of crazy stuff. But yeah, hopefully in the next couple weeks, I'll be actually starting some treatment. And then, and then what else? Oh yeah, this weekend I like binged seasons 3 and 4 of Barry, which was awful for my mental health. I have to say, it's a great show and some dark. amazing episodes in there. Bill Hader is an amazing director. And like, I think he directed every episode in season 4. And it's like, man, some of the stuff that he does in those episodes is like really inspiring and like really cool direction. But dude, fuck, that show like stops being a comedy and starts becoming like a really fucked up show with like some jokes here and there. Great stuff, but man, yeah, crazy show. I'm glad I finished it though and got it out of the way. Really good stuff. I enjoyed that quite a bit.
I'm doing pretty good. After having a bit of a crazy like week or two prior, this week I just kind of really took it easy and played some video games, read some books. Just tried to relax. I did go tubing on Saturday, which I hadn't been tubing since I was probably like 23 years old. It's probably, I'm not going to say how long that was because it's going to date me, but it's been a long time. So that was pretty fun. But other than that, started a new puzzle, watched Lord of the Rings, 2 Towers Extended Edition while doing said puzzle. It's been a great weekend, How about y'all?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been working a lot on my game. Summer and I were just chatting before the podcast about San Japan, this anime and gaming convention in San Antonio that's coming up, and I'm going to have a booth to show off the demo of the game. Really trying to get it in as good a shape as I can before that and use that to force me to do a lot of work on it. So that's been great. And I don't think
deadlines are clutch.
Deadlines are really helpful.
They really help.
Yeah.
And I'm also, having to return to full-time work shortly after that convention. So I'm trying to get in the habit of working on it at nights and weekends and stuff so that will continue when it gets even harder. And then I don't think I mentioned this on the podcast, but I got the Steam page up for it. So please, if you're listening, I'd love it if you went over to Steam, searched Monochrome Heights, and wishlisted it. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is I went to the Summer of Play Nintendo traveling mall show today with my kid, and we had a blast. I was a little worried it would be, like we'd go in and leave because we already own all the games and that's what it is. But they had a lot of nice, photo ops, and he's always enjoys playing Nintendo games that we already own at Target. So he had a fine time playing them at the mall too.
Well, yeah, it's a way you can show off to all the other young consumers how good you are at the game.
I was definitely that person. I feel like, because like we're sitting there playing these games and I'm like, spitting off this knowledge, and the person that's working the booth is like, yeah, that's right. Like that is true.
You should be a Nintendo ambassador.
And then it was kind of funny because they have this thing, and I'm sorry if this goes long, but like a little card you fill out. Like if you take photos and you play enough demos, then you can go get a chance at a claw machine, right? And one of the things you have to do is go talk to somebody who gives you a little soft sell on the Switch, right? Like you have to find the person with the star hat. And then the person with the star hat's job is to be like, do you own a Nintendo Switch? And like has the like, example consoles up there. And I'm like, yeah, we have all 3 of those. You know what I mean? And like, we're big fans. And then like one of the ladies that's running the demo is like, oh, my kid had a Pikmin shirt on. It's like, you like Pikmin? I'm like, yeah, we already beat Pikmin 4. And like spoiler for later in the episode. And they were like, you already beat the game that came out last Friday? And I'm like, yeah. You know what I mean? And I think because of those comments, I don't know which one, they like came out to my kid and were like, we heard you're a really big fan of Nintendo, so here's a backpack. Which was cool.
Wow.
That's sweet.
I love that.
Because I was also felt a little bad because I'm looking around. Nobody else has a backpack, but oh well.
Well, we were
the one correcting
special boy.
People working.
Yeah. Did you were
sweet,
the Nintendo reps impressed that you were the host of the most premium podcast on all the
what's
internet?
funny is my kid was like, you should have told me about your podcast. It just never happened. Naturally, I should have, but like,
dude. That's how we get it in at Nintendo,
I
Patrick.
know, I messed up.
At this roaming mall show.
Yeah, these very high up Nintendo employees.
Yeah.
No, but it was fun. We did not win the claw machine, unfortunately. Claw machines stink. But really, it was just like stuffies like this cat, which we already have a couple of. And I was like, don't aim for the Mario cat. We've got that one. You know what I mean? But the thing we did get is the consolation prize. Is these buttons.
Those are nice.
Those are cool.
So there's 4 Mario buttons, a Kirby, Donkey Kong, Animal Crossing, and Splatoon 1. We got 2 sets of
consolation prizes.
Yeah.
I will be taking the other set.
If you want it, you can have it. Magnus is already wearing the Splatoon one, which and he opened his immediately, and I'm like, I'm gonna hold on to my set. See,
sold on eBay in 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But if you want it, David, it's yours.
Okay.
But anyway, that's a long segment there, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, what about you, Summer? How was your week?
Yeah, so I've been out for a while. The past week and a half, I traveled to the Great North, aka just where my family lives. I had an engagement party to go to and just helping my folks around the farm. Got to spend some time with my sister, saw the Barbie movie. I've seen the Barbie movie twice. I fully intend to go see it a 3rd time.
It's good.
And dressing up for it every single time. Yeah, no, Barbie was everything that I needed it to be and more. And what was funny about visiting my folks, so full disclosure, my parents are beekeepers. They run a honey farm and they do a lot of markets in the summers. And I helped my mom work some markets. And there was this one market where it was her last day doing it for the season. So there were some news crews that were there specifically trying to interview folks who were done for the season. And my mom is very shy, and she was, as soon as we found out that there were news crews, she's like, oh, thank goodness that you're here, because normally my dad does all of the TV segments. And I was like, don't worry, I got this. And
I'm imagining Ben Affleck in Shakespeare in Love, the I will play.
Literally.
I don't know. That might be too deep kind of a reference.
No,
but yes.
my mom even wrote down she found a notebook. She's like, these are the stores that you need to make sure that you say. And I was like, I got it. I don't think I can ask them to hold up a notebook. Like I can remember these stores. Oh, because we've been servicing all these stores, longer than back when I was still living there, helping make all the deliveries and stuff. It was just so funny. Like, I hadn't even been there 2 days, and I was like, great, people who I didn't tell that I was going to be up here are now going to be like,
saw you on
what
TV.
the hell? I saw you on TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how that always goes. No, I had a good trip. Did not game a lot. I played a little bit of Splatoon and Mario with my sister, but I've barely been on my Switch, so I'm ready to play my Switch again.
Hell yeah. Real quick, I did want to give one more shout out before we move on to the actual shout outs. A pre-shout out, if you will. The trailer for Castlevania Nocturne dropped. That's the show that I've been editing for the past couple years with Powerhouse Animation, doing the animation for it and direction of it. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who's watched that trailer. I think we're at like 2.8 million views or something on that trailer right now on YouTube. And that's not even counting all the stuff on Twitter and everything, but it's the like fan reaction has been like overwhelmingly positive for that trailer. I'm a big fan of that trailer myself. It gets me really hype every time I watch it, and like watching all like the like YouTube like reactions to the trailer and stuff has been really, really cool. And so, yeah, that show comes out on September 28th. If you're a Castlevania fan, either of the games or the show, you're going to love it. Or if you're just like a fan of like French Revolution era, like historical drama or like sexy vampires, like you'll love all that stuff too. I'm really proud of this show. I can't wait for it to come out. But I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody who's said such nice things about the trailer.
Yeah, I don't normally like to wade into YouTube comments, but I definitely like scrolled through that trailer after you shared it to look at the reactions were very positive, so that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some weirdos out there that do not like it. Not that if you didn't like it, you're a weirdo, but like there are some of them are definitely have their priorities in the wrong place. But mostly, it's been a great response so far.
Good. We've got a few shout outs to give. Our Discord podcast channel is just amazing lately. It is impossible to shout out everybody that communicates on there and comments about the show. So shout out to our Discord community just in general. But Rachel shared photos of the kittens she mentioned on the episode. That was nice. Thanks, Rachel. And then just a few people to maybe call out from there. Cena. I want to shout out Cena because Cena's been playing Pikmin 4 and sharing his playthrough and that kind of stuff. Already beat the game, 100% of the game. I'm waiting until I get further to chat with you, Cena. Few people like Carusetta and others had some comments about the Project Q discussion we had, and so many other great comments on the Discord. So definitely come be part of the Discord. And then over on our YouTube channel, Flower5185 said they really enjoyed our Pikmin discussion, was thankful to listen to a podcast where people are actually informed about the series. That was refreshing. So that's nice to hear that we love
content experts.
Yeah.
That's right. Here on Super Switch Headz. Nowhere else.
Nobody knows more about the Pikmin franchise than me.
I feel like we got comments about that like on our ARMS episode too. Like, you know, like it's
of course you did. Literally, who else?
Talking Sock.
So yeah, Talking Sock. So anyway, thanks to everybody.
Socks don't have arms.
Thanks to everybody who commented on the Discord, or if I missed you on some other platform, definitely appreciate you. And yeah, if there's anything we say this episode about our controversial 2D Zelda rankings or anything else we talk about, definitely send us a note, leave a comment somewhere, and we'll try to shout you out. And then, hop over to the YouTube where you can literally see our faces, and definitely like and subscribe and we'd appreciate that. Helps us out. And then let's do the news. So sticking with Pikmin for a minute, Pikmin 4 has been doing pretty well in sales wise, at least for the regions we know about, which are usually Japan and the United Kingdom, since those places put out or have weekly charts that you can read. Famitsu, the Japanese publication, puts out sales data and shows Pikmin 4 at the top. And I guess it's already outsold every other Pikmin game. Wow. Is that my understanding? Or first week sales?
It's
first
week sales have outsold the previous 3 Pikmin first week sales combined in Japan. Yes.
The Switch effect.
The Switch effect.
Yeah. Dude, almost 500,000 sales in Japan in your first week is a pretty fucking huge number for Japan, right? So that's pretty impressive. I know like the marketing has been out of control in Japan, so that definitely has been helping them.
There's Pikmin 4 sandwiches you can buy at 7-Eleven, apparently.
Yeah.
Or Family Mart,
they've got, yeah. Although 7-Eleven is very big in Japan, but it's definitely doing well over there. I think it's doing well over here. It feels like it's doing well over here. I'd be very interested to see what the sales are in comparison to Pikmin 3, because Pikmin 3 was the previous bestseller for the Pikmin 3 Deluxe. But yeah, this is great news, and it's nice to see this franchise getting a lot of love.
Yeah, it was interesting to go to that Summer of Play event and them have that big Pikmin. I don't know what it's called, like booth, setup that exhibit where you can
experience,
which had, I think a TV screen and then 2 or 3 handheld as well. So like, some of the other booths only had like Tears of the Kingdom, for example, only had like 2 handhelds and stuff like that. So Nintendo's definitely pushing it. Yeah.
They don't need to push Tears of the Kingdom.
No, that's true.
Right.
Also the age range of the people at the Summer of Play event, I think skews a little more, not that
young.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I felt like it was
it's
more
for
kids.
It's
for
for
babies.
kids.
Yeah.
It really is.
tiny
For
I
kids
don't
and
know.
families.
I've never been able to go. That's why I'm asking.
No, it's fine. I didn't really 100% know until I got there. And I'm like, I made the right call coming with my kid. Not just me walking in there.
I felt stupid if you didn't bring him. Yeah.
It is okay. I know that we're talking about Pikmin right now and not this mall thing again, but it is
No, keep talking about the mall.
to be in a mall, isn't it? Like in the year 2023,
It was weird
to be in a mall. It's kind of lit. Also, I'm kind of like into malls again.
Well,
Oh yeah, because a lot of them are getting more experimental with what they're allowing to be in the mall. Like there's a mall near me that's got a theater, like not a movie theater, but like stage production theater, and then there's also like weird art galleries in there.
Yeah, the art stuff. When I think it's at the same mall that your thing was at, but I was there kind of recently to like get my computer fixed at a Apple store or something, and I was surprised at all like the weird nerd shit everywhere. It's like there's all these like kiosks selling like nerd stuff. I was like, okay, they're trying to get it's like Gen Z. They're trying to get Gen Z back into the malls. But anyway,
also escalators were a big hit for my kid because he had never been on one.
Oh,
that is crazy to me. That's so funny.
But he'd never been in a mall. He's like, this place.
That was the first time he'd ever seen one.
Not ever, because I think
That's
when
the first time he'd ever seen an escalator.
son, this is what's called a magic stairway.
Anyway,
I just very distinctly remember the first time I saw an escalator being like, this is insane. How did they make the stairs go?
Why?
We got to move on. We got to
move on. All right, Pikmin 4 selling well. It's also number 1 in the UK charts, right? We'll see whenever we get official numbers on that one, but we'll move on to Disney Illusion Island, which is a Switch exclusive, and that's why we're talking about it. Came out this past week for the Switch. It's like a 2D Metroidvania-like platformer, as I understand it. I'm kind of interested in this game, and I think some of us were, and we all talked about it, but the reviews were middling, which isn't terribly surprising. I don't know. What do y'all think?
They're pretty good. From what I understand, the kind of consensus is this is kind of like baby's first Metroidvania, and it's like a very fun, beautiful game with a lot of like character and art, but no combat and is very easy, right? So I don't think a lot of people play Metroidvanias because they're easy.
Yeah,
I think people like a challenge that are Metroidvania fans. So I'm interested to see how this one does, but it looks really good. I'm still definitely into it.
Yeah, that's what dissuaded me from buying it, because I was like, the $40 price point, it looks pretty good. But then I heard it's like pretty easy, and I'm like, dude, this is something I'd pick up for $20 on sale eventually. But it does look pretty interesting. I mean, just the art style alone is like really pretty. And I don't feel like you get a lot of games where you play as like Mickey proper anymore. Yeah. It's been a while, so just kind of curious. But yeah,
Epic Mickey was probably the last.
Epic Mickey was very good.
Yeah, that's the last one I can think of too. Yeah. I just like to see the kids play Metroidvanias. Get them young.
Yep.
Let's get Metroid going. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've played that and you have any thoughts, definitely tell us, because I haven't like talked to anybody that's played it. I just read reviews and stuff. But while we're talking about 2D games, we can talk about some interviews that happened. One of them is about 3D, but there's some discussion. I guess we call it like speculation that happened about Sonic Mania 2 and why that never happened. About maybe there was a falling out between Sega and Christian Whitehead and his team. But there's been some interviews recently, in particular with Sonic team and also with Christian Whitehead's team, about various games, about the new Sonic. What's the new Sonic game called? Why can't Superstars?
Superstars. Yeah.
and about Sonic Origins Plus, and also about Penny's Big Breakaway. So sounds like it's not true. At least they're trying to make it sound like it's not true that there was any sort of falling out, and that it was just more, it didn't. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. They both kind of parted ways to do their own things or whatever.
Yeah, I think they just had creative differences on where they wanted to take the sequel. Because I mean, it seems like they definitely were talking about it, and they knew Sonic Mania was a big hit. And they just, I think they didn't want to do pixel stuff, and they wanted to do more of this Superstars style of game. And I think, Christian Whitehead and the team at
Evening Star.
Thank you, Evening Star, and the other companies that worked on that as well weren't as interested. But yeah, I mean, it's good to hear that. This does seem like you said, Patrick. It seems like a little bit of damage control. Like maybe they did get a little burned, but now they're like on speaking terms again. So they put out like a press release or whatever, or a Twitter thread or whatever, being like, no, there was never any bad blood. We like each other. We like our relationship with Sega or whatever. But either way, Sonic Superstars looks excellent. And Penny's Big Breakaway looks really good too. So I'm happy, as long as Sonic Superstars isn't like a retread of Sonic the Hedgehog 4 and is rather more in line with what they were doing with Mania, I'm going to be happy, because it's nice to see the studio like work with an original IP and flex their creative muscles a little bit.
Yeah, it's a Nintendo Life interview if you want to go check it out with Evening Star about Penny's Big Breakaway. And there's a lot of interesting, technical detailed stuff in there that if you're interested in game development, is really interesting to listen to them talk about how they iterate on their 3D level design and stuff like that. And the yo-yo mechanic in this game, which I'm really kind of curious about too. We'll move on to Masahiro Sakurai. As you may recall, has a YouTube channel, and he's been putting out game design videos for a while now. And every once in a while, this makes the rounds when he says something on one of his videos. And in this case, he brought up Super Smash Bros. And I want to read the quote, or maybe the stuff that's in particular that I think is interesting. He says that one option, what happens next for it, one option is for them to go without him. I'm not reading exactly what he said, but he can't imagine a Smash Bros. Title without him, is more or less a quote that he said. And that sounds kind of full of hubris, but I think he goes on to explain why, that they don't think there's somebody who's ready or able to take over yet. And then he makes a comment at the end about, he would be willing or like to even work with Nintendo however he's able. So I don't know if this is isn't it kind of weird to publicly make those statements, or I don't know.
Sure. But I mean, if anyone should say that, it should be him. He's not wrong. Every game that's tried to emulate Super Smash Brothers has pretty much failed, in my opinion. I think, Multiverses was kind of close. Nick All-Stars kind of close, whatever. We've done a whole episode on Smash Likes, right? And it's they all do their best to get the formula down, but it's I think the secret sauce is Sakurai, man. He just understands it better than anybody else, and his love for the video game industry as a whole is so apparent. And I don't know. I can't imagine one without him either. So I don't really know what's next for the franchise.
Well, it sounds like he's willing to come in and assist or train somebody, or who knows, right?
Supervise, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what
but
do you
does
guys?
He know how to? Does he know how to just supervise?
Probably
if they
not.
If they pull him in on any capacity, he's gonna get I mean this not with a negative connotation, but control freak about it.
Totally. Yeah.
I think either he's in or he's out.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's also just what do they even do from here? It's
sure.
How do you shake up the formula from here? How do you improve on this game?
Everybody's already here, right?
Yeah.
No, just 80 different versions of Waluigi is actually the next Smash.
I just think it's interesting that he said this in a video. That rather, it sounds like the kind of thing that maybe you keep this to yourself, but I I guess he feels comfortable. I mean, he just seems like such a respectful person, but he has a little bit of sense of humor. You can tell from all his, presentation
Sure.
videos and stuff. So I wonder if there's a little bit of snark in here or something. I don't know.
Mhm. Makes me think that there was something internally
Yeah.
that like happened, or there was some timer on when he could stop or start. That he
Yeah.
wasn't like not any longer allowed to speak on certain things that like we write, like why now? Why say stuff like this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good question. It was like October of 2021 or so that Sora came out. So I was like, that's almost 2 years. So I was, like, is
God,
there
that
like
was
some
so
sort of
years ago.
NDA that just expired or whatever that like,
Sure,
or
right.
not,
Maybe.
or something. Yeah.
I mean, how old is Sakurai? 52. I just looked it up.
Not
Thank
as old
you.
as,
Oh,
not that old. Yeah.
Oh man, he's got time. He's got at least like
Hey,
5
whoa.
more smashes.
Yeah, he's
For the-
52, but his like wrists and hands are like 87. Like
That's
he's
what I was about
the boy
to
is
say.
falling apart.
The
Yeah.
kind of work that these people put in, especially when they were younger. I mean, they'll tell you in interviews or when you read about them, like how much it ages, like that crunch culture that they all went through ages you. I think if anybody deserves to retire before he, right? I mean, like, look,
Yeah, I just don't think
I don't
he'd
want to
be
get too
able
much
to.
into it. Yeah.
I don't think he'd be able to stop working. I mean, the Verge article that you have linked here, Patrick, like makes a comparison between him and like Miyazaki. You know, how Miyazaki's always saying like, "This is my last movie," and then he makes like 4 more movies. You know, and
Oh,
every
I
time he's like,
know.
"It's my last movie." It's the same kind of thing. It's like
And he's miserable.
some artists just like have to continually create. They don't feel fulfilled unless they're doing.
Well, I
it,
think that's what being an artist is. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you don't make art to like make money or to make a living. I mean, you might, but like it's not, that's the bad choice if that's your goal, right? Like,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
like, you do it because you're driven. Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother
It's-
conversation.
It is nice though to see someone, you know, I guess Sakurai's not technically a Nintendo employee, so he like can do this stuff, but it's nice seeing somebody so entwined in that Nintendo culture, like from the Iwata years, you know, who is so open and like will
Yes.
talk so freely about this kind of stuff. It's really refreshing to see.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, where we might see a new Smash Brothers or some deluxe version would be on the next Nintendo console.
Very good segue.
And there continues to be a lot of rumors, leaks, whatever you want to call them, about the next Nintendo console. And this week, it is Video Games Chronicle, the website that has some sources or a source that they claim says the launch of the next Nintendo console is planned for next year, that is 2024, and in particular the second half of 2024, in order that there would be no shortages, in order that it would be able to meet demand, is at least what the article claims. How much we believe this, I don't know. I think, and there's a bunch of other details in this VGC article too, so you definitely check it out and we can talk about it, about the screen, about memory, and that kind of stuff, and physical games.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying that key partners have development kits already, which is the huge source for them, right? That's, you know, a big tell, right? And, you know, they've got launch date deadlines for what they're trying to hit internally. And so I think what they're trying to do is avoid kind of what happened with the first year of the Switch, which makes sense. You know, the Switch definitely, I feel like, was rushed to market. You know, the Wii U was failing terribly. So they were like, they didn't quite have all their games ready. So that was kind of this like 1 game a month cadence for a while when the Switch came out, right? I didn't get my Switch right at the beginning because of that. You know, I think having a really solid lineup at the end of 2024, especially if it's like holiday season, man, I think that's how you get a lot of this huge fan base and player base to move over to the new system.
Obviously, the big talk is backwards compatibility. I think that's what a lot of people in our community keep harping on. And this article even mentions that it's unclear. None of their sources have discussed that yet. But there was some discussion about some parties not wanting it to be that way so that they can resell their games. But We'll see. We'll see if any of this is true and what parts of it and all that. But
It's not true. It's coming out later this year.
Summer is doubling down.
Summer will die on this hill.
Yes. Love it.
We love committing to a bit.
You brought up the screen, Patrick, and that's a really interesting part of this article is that it says that it's probably launching with an LCD screen, which will definitely feel like a step down after having the OLED. I mean, I've seen
why?
Well, I mean, they kind of give a justification for it in the article that they want it to launch with more storage and it's going to be more powerful, and an OLED screen would just be that much more expensive if they're trying to keep it within the like $350, $400 range, which I think makes sense. And I saw, I forget what his name is. I follow this guy that I'd really like to get on the show actually on Twitter. And he was talking about how in a handheld form factor, like a QLED as opposed to an OLED is really hard to tell the difference. And I think if they were able to get like a cheap kind of QLED tech for like a 7-inch screen, especially if they kept it at like 720p, I think that might be a pretty good way to do it. Those are technically LCDs, even though they're called QLEDs. So that might be a way that they do it. But I think I would probably prioritize more space and, better hardware over OLED anyway. That's just me personally, but it will be hard going back from that OLED screen.
I just feel like the people who own the OLED are probably the target market of people that want to upgrade anyway.
Sure.
So how are you going to convince them to upgrade if you don't even have the OLED on this device? I don't know. It's going to be a hard sell.
I'm going to counter that with saying the people that have the OLED are probably the people that are going to buy this no matter what. And they're probably trying to target the casual Switch owner to get them to upgrade. And so price matters more.
You're right.
Yeah.
That feels right.
We got a cameo from Dr. Sirkin Toto. I haven't heard from that guy in a while. Although it seemed like he was totally speculating. I don't think he had any actual hard scoops. But he's like an industry analyst.
It's a good article.
Games is in there.
Yeah, they have they interviewed or got quotes from a bunch of industry analysts like that. Well, we'll move on then, unless there's anything else on the definitely going to be called Super Switch, to a...
We can agree on that part.
We can all agree on that.
And everybody wants that too. Every podcast I listen to is like, it's got to be the Super Nintendo Switch. And it's like, yes, dude, of course.
Yes.
Please.
To our last bit of news, which we might just gloss over this. I don't know how y'all feel, because we're going to talk about it in our main topic, at least somewhat, but... The Nintendo Switch Online service is getting a couple new 2D Zelda games. These are not games I am very familiar with, so I would love if somebody else feels up to, explaining Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages and what they are, how they relate, systems they were on, etc. Jordan.
They're Game Boy Color releases. They came out after Link's Awakening DX. They're actually made by Capcom. I want to say they came out in 2003. Let me check my handy dandy notes.
2001.
2001. Thank you.
The year we were attacked.
And so basically, they took the model of, release two games, but instead of them being the exact same game, but slightly different, there are two completely different games. One game focuses more on combat. One game focuses more on puzzles. But when you play through one, you get a code and then you can link it to your next one. And then you'll have a continuous story with a special cutscene linking the stories at the end of it. So it's technically one longer game broken into two separate games.
Is there a preferred order?
Not really. Yeah.
I read a lot about this before I started because when they dropped, I was like, I'm going to play it again.
Yeah, I'm so curious.
The technical Hyrule Historia order is Seasons, then Ages.
Oh, shit. I'm doing it backwards right now.
The fandom... I read so many game FAQs forums of people arguing with each other which one to play first.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter. Yeah. But I mean, they're both good. I played Seasons back in the day, but I never played Ages. So I've been playing Ages recently, and I'm having a blast, man. These games are great, and they have aged really, really well. And they're super weirdo, and it's these games were directed by who at the time worked for Capcom, the guy who currently directs like all the Zelda games. Like he directed Skyward Sword, he directed Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. No, not Aonuma. It's what's his fucking name? Let's see.
The director, not the producer.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
His name is Hidemaru Fujibayashi. He used to work at Capcom and then basically made these 2 Zelda games, and then basically Nintendo scooped up his whole team and made them all like part of Nintendo. And he's been directing the Zelda games, since I think since Skyward Sword. He's been kind of like leading development, while Aonuma's been kind of over, just kind of watching over the productions. Aonuma's kind of become what Shigeru Miyamoto used to be for Aonuma, right? But yeah, Fujibayashi like is a visionary, and I think it's a lot of the reason why Breath of the Wild is the way that it is because of his vision, and a lot of the weirdo stuff like from those games is carried through to a lot of the more recent games as well.
Nice. Well, I think that's going to do it then for our news segment. We're going to talk a whole heck of a lot more about 2D Zelda games. After the break, we're going to give our ranking of all the 2D Zelda games. We are back, and this week in light of the NSO Nintendo Switch Online editions of those 2 Legend of Zelda 2D games, we decided what better time than to take all the mainline 2D Zelda games and rank them in an objective, final, locked, definite, sure order of best to worst.
Objective, I believe, is the word you're looking for.
Full disclosure, I have not played most of these games.
Who better to make an objective list of the best 2D Zelda games
than me, someone who also has never. I think there is one game on this list that I have played, and without having played any of the others.
Guys, we got to keep up
the worst.
We got to keep up the kayfabe, okay?
No, but the flip of that is that David and Jordan, y'all have played a good amount of most, if not all, of the ones we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
and I think Summer and I can be here to break ties. Maybe Summer, if there's a debate, maybe we'll give you that role. How about that? Does that sound fun?
Yeah, this sounds fun.
You can cast.
I'm gonna make you guys fight.
I love it.
If there's something that David and Jordan are hemming and hawing about, we can have Summer step in.
I do love these ranking episodes. Thanks everybody for tuning in for this one. If you're listening right now, we love milking 2 ranking episodes out of every major Nintendo franchise, and we will continue to do this going forward.
Yeah.
Now, this is not my area of expertise, so I'm going to turn it a little bit over to y'all to discuss. 2D Zelda, what qualifies it? What are we excluding? What are we including?
Yeah.
Mainline, what does that mean?
I mean, there's a lot of 2D Zelda games, right? And a lot of spin-off games. And there are some games that we won't be including in this that people might argue like should be in a list. But I think it would just make the episode a little bit too long. I think it would make it a little bit just too much to go over. So we put a lot of those into honorable mentions. Jordan, do you want to read some of these?
Yeah, I'll just start. I did these kind of chronological. So, I mean, first, obviously, we're not including the CDI games, and that's it. End of story. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know.
You don't have to explain that.
I don't think anyone expected.
No one cares.
Those.
Yeah, there's 3 of them. They're all apparently pretty awful. I've actually never played them. I've only watched playthroughs. They look pretty awful to play. They're awful to watch. So I can only imagine.
Beloved by weirdos and sickos, but that's about it.
Mainly sickos. Okay, the other 2 that were 3, I guess that we can kind of lump these 3 together, are like the multiplayer games. So that would include like 4 Swords, 4 Swords Adventures, which was a GameCube game. 4 Swords was tacked on to the Link to the Past GBA re-release. And then the other one that we won't include is Triforce Heroes, which was the 3DS multiplayer game. Just the multiplayer games don't feel as easy to rank, especially because they are not being played solo. Most of the
Mhm.
all of the other Zelda games are solo games. So to be able to, that's just something you can't really quantify, like your experience with other players in the multiplayer game. So I don't think it's fair to include them in the games.
Yeah, they
Um,
are excellent games, though, for the
yeah,
record.
totally. Not going to include freshly picked Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land.
What?
As much as I would love to play that game, it never came out either.
It was Game of the Year the year it was released, the year of our Lord 2006. But
I do keep meaning to find a totally, a very cool, very legal ROM to play that game, because it did come out in the PAL region. So there is an
Mhm.
English version of this game out there, but I have not played it yet. And then the other two, this is probably the most controversial games that we won't include, is Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass and then Spirit Tracks, which, don't at me, I know they're technically part of the mainline canon because one goes right after Wind Waker and then one's 100 years after that.
mhm.
I don't feel comfortable putting them in the 2D space because part of the game is in like a 2D, almost isometric viewpoint, but then the other half of the game is in a 3D vehicular based section of the game with a 3D camera that you can move around.
Mhm.
So I would argue they kind of fall somewhere in between both. And I just don't think it's right to include them strictly in the 2D based ones.
Yeah, and for me, it's just like I've played like a bit of Phantom Hourglass. I own Phantom Hourglass, but I got pretty disinterested early on, so I only ever played a little bit of that game when I was a kid, and then I never played Spirit Tracks. So it's like I wouldn't feel comfortable putting them in a ranking anyway myself. I mean, if you're a big fan of these games, please sound off in the comments. Tell us how much we suck. Any engagement
Yes.
with the show is greatly appreciated, regardless of what it is.
I did beat Phantom Hourglass, and that is the reason I didn't buy Spirit Tracks. So
Okay,
for whatever that's
we'll leave it
worth.
at that. We'll leave it at that.
Anyway, but yeah, so that leaves us with a pretty healthy list of games. 2D being just most of the action takes place 2D as opposed to 3D. That's pretty, I don't know. Yeah.
3D, I think we think of very specific combat or like controls rather, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like it leaves us, if correct me if I'm wrong, with 7 games that we're going to be considering here.
Yeah, I think that kind of just another last little qualifier here. We're counting all the Link's Awakenings as one game.
Yeah, it gets
we're going to be taking Link's Awakening as its value as a game unto itself, rather than all of its different iterations, because the new remake is pretty faithful to the original with just some quality of life. And then we are also lumping Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages together. I think that's kind of a bit of a controversial pick here, but also I think just for the sake of simplicity and the development team and everything behind that, we'll be kind of lumping those in as one experience.
8 games, 7 rankings.
Let's go with that.
Anyway,
Yeah.
all right. Qualifiers out of the way. Let's just open up a little bit of a discussion, because as we do these, what we do is we take them in chronological order and we kind of compare the next game on the list and decide if it's better than the previous one. You'll see, but we're just going to kind of talk about the first game here, which is The Legend of Zelda. The original one came out in the mid to late 80s, depending on your region, right? The Legend of Zelda, 87 in the US. So I think any comments on this game? This is one I have played a little bit of, but I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I'd love to hear from anybody that has more to say.
I mean, it's just the originator. Like, it really did start a whole new style of game that was emulated and iterated on to today, dude. Like, you could even argue like open world gameplay maybe came from the original Legend of Zelda, just like
Totally.
the idea.
Non-linear gameplay. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, it has its place in history. It's super important. Can never understate that, David.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this game's having a bit of a resurgence right now. Like after Tears of the Kingdom's release, I know like a lot of YouTubers and like Ryukar has been playing through this game, and that's been really awesome to watch him. A lot of people have been making videos just about the history of this game. It's really fantastic for the time, right? I mean, I think in a lot of ways it's still very playable today. I think it's it's one of the most challenging Zelda games for sure. Maybe only beaten by the game that comes after this. But yeah, I think out of all the games, I feel like this is one that could really use a remake, or actually maybe even the next one. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think like this and Zelda 2 would make for really good remakes with a lot of quality of life enhancements. But I mean, the first Zelda is still very playable to this day. You know, it started as a Famicom Disk System game and then was kind of downgraded for the US release to run on just a cartridge. But it was one of the first games with like a battery save system. I think a great way to play this game is on the, I've got it back here, the Zelda Game & Watch has an awesome version of this game on it. Another like little kind of tidbit I'd like to say about this before we rank it is originally they were originally going to port this game to the Game Boy Color before they ended up doing the Oracle games. And I actually wrote in about this to Electronic Gaming Monthly when I was a kid, and my letter like got in the magazine being like, yo, where is like the Game Boy Color port of Legend of Zelda, the original Legend of Zelda? And they were like, yeah, we reached out to Nintendo and like talked to them about it. And basically they said that they couldn't figure out how to squish the screen to the right like aspect without losing a bunch of detail, and they didn't want to do a bunch of scrolling in the dungeons, kind of like they did with Super Mario Brothers DX, how they had to do like pixel perfect scrolling on that. And then instead that led them to be like, well, let's make some new games. And then they reached out to Capcom, and that's how we got the Oracle games originally.
You heard it here. Without David, there would be no Oracle.
No, I don't think that's what that was. But
well, he is the creator of Zelda.
Yeah,
and
that's
was
true.
working on the animation, so it makes sense.
Yeah, me, David Howe, the president of Netflix, was also the inventor of Zelda. But no, this game is still very much fun to play. It could just definitely use some extra bells and whistles in a modern age, which is kind of what Breath of the Wild was meant to be.
Yeah.
I just want to add that this is the one that I've played. And I played it because it was part of the ambassador program on the new Nintendo 3DS.
Mhm.
So that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, all I really have to say is that I think like it's like y'all did a good job of explaining. It's amazing, like groundbreaking game, but like it's kind of hard to go play it now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it's challenging compared to modern games and all that. And like you said, maybe we should.
It's obtuse.
Yeah. That sort of old era where you need to make notes and kind of find secrets and stuff, especially, right? Like,
it's a game that really needed its like instruction manual, you know, because in the instruction manual was the map, you know, and in there was like all these little hints that you could use throughout the game. And if you didn't have that, like if you're just emulating this game with no instruction manual, it's like really, really difficult to play.
That's how I played it the first time. And I was like, I have no idea what is going on. So I definitely, the first time I played this game, I played through with a walkthrough because I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to, with the game itself, I don't know how I'm supposed to figure this out. Like it doesn't make that much sense, but with that context, it made way more like, oh, okay, I get it. Like I'm supposed to be looking through the manual, taking my notes or whatever. But I feel like also just the cultural reference points from this game too are really funny. You know, there's like early memes. I feel like Hot Topic had fucking Zelda shirts when I was in high school, or it said like, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this. And it has like a sword on it.
Dodongo dislikes smoke.
Yeah, you know, so it has like beyond the cultural relevance of video game, it has like a wider net as well, just for video game culture in general, for sure.
So for the moment, because this is the first game, it's sitting at number 1. But that might not last. It might. We'll see. Next up would be Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Came out in the US in 88. So not that long after the first one, right? In Japan, 87. So these games close in time, both for the NES. So what about Zelda 2? How does this one different? There's some big ways, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's totally different creative team behind this one. I think Shigeru Miyamoto was kind of really focused on like Mario like 2 and 3, and then what would eventually be Link to the Past at the time, and so he got a whole different creative team to work on it, and they really took a big swing with a very different style of gameplay for the sequel. So much so that I think they almost were like, should we even call this a Zelda game? Right. And then they ended up just kind of bringing it back to Zelda and putting it kind of within that timeline, if you want to call it that. But this is also a really excellent game that is very difficult. And this is the most like RPG-ish of all the Zelda games, I think, even to this day.
Yeah. I mean, it has the 2D segments, right? Like, I think we have to talk about that I guess Link's Awakening has some 2D segments, but it's not the same.
Patrick, they're all 2D. We're talking about 2D Zelda. No.
Totally. I'm sorry. I should thank you. That's a great point, right? I said 2D. I meant not isometric, right? Like most Zelda 2D games are top-down isometric view, right? But there are in
side scrolling.
Yeah, in Zelda 2, it's mostly side, right?
So the overworld is top down, but then whenever you go into like the actual segments of the game, it is side scrolling, akin to like Castlevania, honestly, if I remember correctly.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. It feels kind of like that, but more, it's like less like vertically oriented than Castlevania games, I think. It's like it's kind of like when you go into battles, like in the overworld, you go into the side scrolling when you go into dungeons and then towns, right? And then the rest of it is not even like top-down Zelda like you would have known from the original Zelda. It's more like Dragon Quest or something.
Yeah, like Final Fantasy map or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Final Fantasy or something.
Yeah, exactly. And this game has like it's a level-based game. You level up and you unlock, higher powers, or like you level up your abilities like as you go. Not in a way of the other games where you're like just getting new items. This is actually like leveling up your sword and your jump and like all that kind of stuff. And it's a really fascinating game, incredibly difficult. This one, actually, I take it back. I think this one, out of all the Zelda games, could use a remake the most. I think it'd be a really fascinating game if they were able to remake this one, like in a Metroid Samus Returns style game.
Yeah, how would you want them to remake it? Like, keep the side scrolling
on the 3DS. Samus Returns. But no, I mean, keep the side scrolling, keep the level stuff, but then just add in quality of life. You can expand the game a little bit too. I think you could do a really cool thing with the remake to this game.
Yeah, I would agree, but they haven't ever done a Legend of Zelda remake yet. So if they do that before a Zelda 2 remake, is not good. I don't know. I also think it's interesting too that this is the only Zelda game that eschews the Legend of Zelda : title. This one's technically just called Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. So I thought that was an interesting point as well, but it makes sense when you're saying it's a completely different development team and all that stuff. So anyway, just worth noting.
I kind of feel like out of all the NES games that were actually successors to the original Legend of Zelda, I think like Star Tropics is kind of like the closest that it gets on the NES. And this was kind of its own thing, which was really cool to see at the time. And now it's like a really interesting relic. It's a great game. Is it as good as the first one? That's what we're about to find.
Let's do that.
Let's battle it out.
David and Jordan, you're our experts here. Is Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, better than The Legend of Zelda?
Nah.
Yeah,
that's a no. That's a hard no for me.
I can't in good conscience put this over the first game, even though I think in a lot of ways it's like more inspired and creative. Actually, no, I can't even agree with that. I think it's like at the time there was nothing like Zelda, right? And so I think this has to go underneath it, but I still do love this game quite a bit. And you can play it on the Game & Watch.
Yeah.
How funny.
I have also played a little bit of this one, and I agree. I'm not going to put in an official vote, but I agree. Good job, y'all.
I appreciate the effort that they took of trying to make this different from the first one. Like they just try to make it completely different instead of iterate. But sometimes, you take a swing and you miss.
Well, move on to the next game. This is my personal darling here on this list, the one I have spent the most time with, and that is The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. We move on to the 16-bit era. This was on the Super Nintendo. Came out in the early 90s, 91 in Japan, 92 here in the United States. I love this game, y'all. I always have a hard time putting top favorite video games of all time lists together.
Whoa.
But I think this is up there for me in the top 10-ish. I don't know where it lands exactly if you force me to make a list.
Wow.
This
I think
game
it just
is
hit at the right
insane.
age for me too, which is like a
Yeah.
big part of these rankings
Sure.
and personal opinions on stuff like this. But
Yeah, there's nostalgia factor for
Yeah.
you then. You played it at launch kind of or like
exactly.
close to it.
Like it was a lot of time sunk into this one. So
Yeah.
I think though, like new players would also agree that this is one of the best Zelda games ever. Like I think you could pick this game up in the year of our Lord 2023 and like have an incredible time with it. It's like where Legend of Zelda and Zelda 2 Link's Adventure, or whatever the fucking
whatever that link.
Yeah. Like this game has aged like a fine California wine.
Yeah.
Like it is really, really good. And like the graphics, the music, the story, just the way that the item systems work compared to like the Game Boy Zeldas or the NES Zeldas, like this game is phenomenal and really holds up to this day. So much so that it's never been remade outside of, I guess, the GBA port, which I would seems more like a port to me. But it has had a direct sequel. This is one of the few games that has a direct sequel that was released many years later and used essentially the same map. Like that's how good and solid this game was and its world were when it came out at the time.
Yeah, I actually replayed it not too long ago on
NSO.
And, used the NSO save scum feature just because I wasn't trying to, have a tough time. But
You're an adult. You have time. You don't have time.
I don't have to justify myself to you. But anyway, I don't know. Anything else from anybody on this one? Any thoughts about that?
I mean, this game is insane because like it's like literally you could tell they probably had so many ideas in the Legend of Zelda, but they were limited by the 8-bit technology that they just couldn't fit into that game. And they just saved them all and they put them all in this game. And it really shows that like they were really shining at that point in time. I would argue that this or Super Mario World are the best Super Nintendo games. Point blank. There's like, I can't think of any other bit. I love Super Metroid. It is not better than either of those two games, this is for me, probably my favorite Super Nintendo game. It just, every way that you wanted the game to be better, it was better. It felt like more of a true sequel to The Legend of Zelda than Zelda 2 did. So
totally.
What else do you say? I mean, it's like you got multiple sections and it kind of really laid the groundwork for Zelda going forward for the next Ocarina of Time and for a long time forward. This is like trio set up at the beginning, then oh wait, the game's not over, then you have to go do more stuff. Like it just really laid the groundwork for the series forever, so I just cannot overstate
the whole like dark world light world element of it too was so clearly what they were trying to do with Ocarina of Time, with the past and the present, or the present and the future, however you want to look at it. Like it was so much so that people are like, man, like when Ocarina of Time came out, they're like, this game's amazing. Isn't it just kind of Link to the Past though? And it's like, either way, I mean, both games are incredible, but this game really stuck the landing. And we got Link with some pink, cute hair.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah. I always forget about that. Yeah. But
well, I mean, I think I could talk about this game more, but why don't we rank it? Let's start with an easy one, maybe. Is The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past better than Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No question.
Is The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past better than The Legend of Zelda?
Yeah.
In like every conceivable way. Yeah.
Is this the one to beat? Is this the one to beat? Yeah.
We'll have to see going forward.
We'll have to see.
All of this high praise, I'm like, I guess I need to go and play this game. You
should.
Could say this, Jordan, you're saying this is the best Super Nintendo game, period.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
sure
would
I
argue.
disagree.
Yeah.
I can't think of a better one. Like, and maybe Chrono Trigger, but this I think is number one.
I would personally say Super Mario World is the best Super Nintendo game, and that was a launch game, so it's like doesn't even seem fair. But like, yeah, I mean, this game is just incredible and holds up to this day.
Wow. Okay. I'm a big Final Fantasy VI fan, so I guess I got to play this game.
Oh, that's true. Final Fantasy VI is pretty good. That's a tough one. Also,
Yeah,
in
I
my
guess I gotta
top
play
10 of
this.
all time, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, we'll do a Final Fantasy ranking episode at some
No,
point.
thanks. Only not mainline Final Fantasies, just like Final Fantasy games that are only on like Nintendo consoles.
Yeah.
Or, like hardware.
Well, no, we will do a 3D and a 2D episode.
okay. Well, we're going to move on to the next game, which is The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, 1993, originally out on the Game Boy, right? So yeah, as I go through these, I'm like, maybe I am a little more familiar with some of these than I thought, but all right, let's just talk about Link's Awakening. How do we feel about this game? Tight, good experience is what I think of when I think of it, right? Like, not that the other games are super sprawling, but a little more so than this one. A little more contained.
I feel like it's tight due to the hardware that it was on, but it's also kind of a miracle because of the hardware it's on. You're like, the fact that this is on the Game Boy is like crazy because it doesn't feel less fully featured than previous Zelda games. It still feels more featured than the original Legend of Zelda. Maybe a little bit less than Link to the Past, but I mean, it's got a great story, interesting, unique items and characters throughout. It's also interesting to me that this is the
sorry, I didn't mean
no Zelda, the Legend of Zelda with no Zelda. It is interesting to me that this is the one that they've kind of fussed with the most because they released not only the original, then they released the DX version for Game Boy Color, and then they released a remake as well. I don't think any of the other games on this list have a remake or a upgraded version at all.
Yeah, why do you think that is? You think there's some internal love for this game or something?
I think it's just like a little darling of a game, and it's just everybody knows that. It's like, it feels timeless, especially the DX version for the Game Boy Color. It's like very, very playable. I mean, I think it's mostly hamstrung by its item management system, right? Yep. Which is also a problem when it comes to the Oracle games as well, since they kind of basically use the same engine, I guess you could say, as this game. But no, I mean, it's a fantastic game. Also, another game that started as a port. I think they were trying to port A Link to the Past to the Game Boy. They were just kind of fucking around with that, like seeing, can it be done or whatever. And then they were like, nope, it can't. And then everybody's like, all right, let's move on. We're making some other games. But in the background, like Takashi Tezuka was like working on it. And I think I got that right, that it was him. But it's like he was working on it and basically like came up with these new ideas. And they weren't going to make a Game Boy game, like an original Game Boy game. And then he was like, yeah, but what about this? And everybody played it and they were just blown away. And then they're like, okay, great. Yeah, you guys keep working on this. But in the background, they were kind of making this game and it turned out to be such a little darling.
When you mentioned the item management, and I don't know that this, how this factors into the ranking, but the Switch version doesn't have that problem thanks to having more buttons, right? So it's kind of the way to play this, in my opinion, because you don't have to deal with that sort of swapping your item into the slots and that kind of thing.
Totally, yeah. Just having like something to have the feather on, or the what's it called, the jump mechanic in this game. I forget what that item's called, but having that on its own button is super helpful.
Well, if there's nothing else about this one, then we should rank it. We'll start in the middle. Is The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening better or worse than The Legend of Zelda, the original one for the NES?
Ooh, that's pretty tough.
David, you go first.
No, I was gonna say you go first. All right.
Nope, I've gone first. You go.
All right. I think I think just in the fact that it is so eminently replayable to this day, like from a modern context, I would say that this game is better. Even though I think like the original scope was like incredible for the time. I think personally, I would put this, and objectively, I would put this above the original Legend of Zelda for the Famicom Disk System.
I definitely agree, only for the fact that like it is more replayable today. It stands on its own as its own unique piece. It wouldn't be able to exist without the original, but it builds upon the original in a very unique way, for sure. So I would agree. Yeah, it's better than The Legend of Zelda.
Okay, well, that was good agreement there. We got one more question then.
I mean, would you agree with that though?
I would.
Patrick?
Again, my time with
Okay.
the original Legend of Zelda isn't as like I played it at friends' houses and stuff, and I messed around with it on NSO, but I've never tried to beat it or anything. But there's a reason. I think I've never tried to beat it. Anyway, so I agree. Trickier question, perhaps, is Link's Awakening better than A Link to the Past?
No.
Yeah, I don't think I could say that it is. I think A Link to the Past is a really, really high bar to clear. So I would stick this one below.
Okay. Well, just to check in with everybody then, here's our current rankings, right? So up top, number 1, we've got The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. And then we've got Link's Awakening. And then we've got the original Legend of Zelda. And down at the bottom currently in 4th slot is Zelda 2. Next up on our list is the games that caused this episode to happen. We're lumping them together just to make it a little easier for us. The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages from 2001. Jordan kind of already explained these games in the news segment a little bit, but we can maybe talk a little bit more about personal opinions here. I have not touched these games, so I'm excited to try them on NSO, but I have nothing to say.
I am excited for you. These games are excellent.
Yeah.
And this was originally meant to be a trilogy of games. It was going to be 3, but the development team was like, this is way too fucking hard. They couldn't figure out they couldn't figure out how to link all 3 games, just through but through the code system and the password system that they used to actually connect these games. That was a major sticking point. And then also, I think just both of these games exceeded the scope that they originally had planned for them, right? And so they were like, okay, instead of trying to fart out 3 games in a year or however long the fucking development was for this, it was not very long. They decided to go with 2, which I think was the right choice. Although, I would love to see someday, like, what the ideas were for the 3rd Oracle game, but, because it was going to be like kind of based around the Triforce. But these games are excellent. You would never know that these are Capcom games if it didn't have the big Capcom logo right at the very beginning when you boot it up. These feel like straight up Nintendo produced Zelda games. They're very weird in the same way that Link's Awakening is weird. Got really interesting cast of characters and a lot of stuff like that. But
is Zelda in them?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's it. We're just ranking these based on Zelda.
How important is Zelda to the story is what I need to know.
Well, Link's Awakening has no Zelda. So, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I will say Zelda is mentioned in these games, but I feel like
they
like reference. They reference her.
They reference old Hyrule because these don't take place in Hyrule either. Or at least I know Ages doesn't. I kind of forget about Seasons. I haven't played it in a long time, but they're kind of in their own like worlds that they take place in. But yeah, and like you were saying, Jordan, it's like Ages is much more puzzle focused. Like it's all about dungeons, and Seasons is much more action based. When I was a kid, I just loved the color red, so I like went with
I know,
Seasons, but.
I would have thought it was like Pokemon Red and Blue if you hadn't given me this big explanation. Like, oh, I just picked the color I like and I'm good to go.
I mean, I think it's worth looking at them as one big long game.
Mm-hmm.
They were developed in tandem, and these games are fucking excellent. I love these so much.
Then let's start with: are these games the Oracle games? Are they better than the original, The Legend of Zelda game?
Yes.
Ooh, do we have our first disagreement here?
No, I agree.
Why do you agree? No. Why aren't you fighting?
I think it's playability. It's like going and playing Ages right now. It's like when you open up the map, like the map is so robust in this. It's like you open it up and every single tile you can highlight on the overworld and it tells you what's in that tile. So if you ever get lost, it's so easy to find your way back. And, Ages has the two, it's got basically a light world and a dark world. It's got a past world and a present world. And so like having a really robust map like that is super helpful. And I don't know. I feel it's like a lot of stuff that was even tiresome about Link's Awakening they fixed in these games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in Seasons, you said Ages has the two, but Seasons has you can change the season and that changes the map as well. So it kind of like has a similar idea of like almost 4 different types of map. Yes and no, because it just changes which ways and pathways you could take. But
yeah, it's less intense than in Ages. But
less intense than in Ages, but it's still like, variable. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those original NES games are just kind of hard to go back to in a modern era.
Which is why they need a remake.
Yeah, seriously. Dude, if they remade both of those NES games and put them in a package, I would be so fucking
Oh my
happy.
God.
Yeah.
Okay, pay $120 for that. Okay, keep
Jordan,
they're waiting for the
stop.
40th anniversary. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It'll be like
yeah.
the 43rd anniversary or something weird. They're like 43 is a really important number in Japan.
Anyway, okay.
Always.
The Oracle games, are they better than Link's Awakening?
Okay. I'm going to go first on this one, Jordan, since you went first on the last one. I think that they are technically better in a lot of ways. I think that Link's Awakening has a charm in its simplicity and straightforwardness, even in its weirdness, that to me makes it an easier experience to go back to and play over and over again. And when you rope in all the remakes and everything that Link's Awakening had with it as well, I think I would put Link's Awakening over the Oracle games. But what about you, Jordan?
I think it is better than Link's Awakening. I think it takes. Yeah, this is the first disagreement. I thought about this a lot because it takes the idea and the vibe of Link's Awakening, it pushes it to the next logical conclusion, and even includes a lot more stuff that I would have loved to have seen in Link's Awakening, and kind of just really iterates on it in a way that is the next level, So to me, it is better for that as a objective game. Objective being the operative word.
I can't believe it. I've actually been hemming and hawing about this myself, and this is. It's tough. I thought I had a lot
because they're both fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we did
have the tie break between
Summer.
two people that haven't played it.
I'm putting it in Summer's score because if there's two of us, we could disagree. Summer, you can ask them some questions. You can take a side. What is the objective? Are the Oracle games objectively better than Link's Awakening? Games you have not played, obviously, but with the data that you've been given.
So I think kind of maybe the coin toss that I am now debating on between these two is that the one game, or the two games technically, the Oracle games were just straight ported recently, so they theoretically just didn't need a remake. I would maybe almost compare it as like how replayable are the original, is the original version of Link's Awakening? Like that might be the way to pit this. Did that game need a remake in order to become the ranking that it has is better than original Legend of Zelda? So maybe that's a question that I kind of want to push back onto y'all to convince me one way or the other of kind of just I am bringing into I know we're ranking Awakening as its own all three as one, but I want to bring that into the conversation of part of the determination, Oracle game. Did the Oracle games just not need a remake, and therefore does that make them potentially better?
I think they could use a remake just as much as Link's Awakening did.
Sure.
I think Link's Awakening just got it because it's more of a beloved classic, and I think more people played Link's Awakening.
And so that's what I'm wondering too then is like, did it get the remake because it is the more deserving of a remake and therefore better?
I would also argue it got the remake because it's an actual Nintendo proper game. And I don't know if Nintendo wants to remake a game that they didn't originally make.
Yeah, I'd love to see Grezzo take a hand at this, though.
Dude, I've been saying this for
Outside
forever.
information. No, just kidding. Yeah.
But I would also argue that, it has, like, if you go back to the original Link's Awakening on the Game Boy, the first one, versus the 2001, 8 years of technological improvements, Oracle of Ages, it just, it is built upon the DX engine and is just a little bit better for it, I would argue.
What are you going to say, Summer?
Oh boy, come after me. Any engagement with the podcast is good. The Oracle games, I'm gonna go ahead and say, are not as good as Awakening.
Wow, let's go.
And I am basing it. I think I am basing it on like Awakening got more attention faster, like sooner. If they knew it was going to be the moneymaker, like.
Let's go.
Yeah. Sorry, Jordan.
I respect the decision, though I disagree with it.
For what it's worth, Jordan, I personally am more invested in trying to play the Oracle games before Link's Awakening.
Yeah. You should be. They are better.
But that's my personal decision. That's my objective decision.
It's the objective decision of the world. Yeah.
Right?
That you just decided. Yeah.
But we can now move on to the next game in the series, our penultimate game here, which is Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap. Came out 2004. Another game I have been meaning to play on NSO, but I have not yet. Also, Capcom is involved in this game. Right?
Capcom.
Another Capcom joint.
Why did none of us nailed that, by the way. Yeah.
All right.
Let's mid-episode. Let's go.
let's talk about it. Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, another Capcom joint. It is fantastic. This is a game I played right before Tears of the Kingdom because they dropped the GBA.
On NSO, yeah.
The NSO. And man, this game really holds up. This game is phenomenal. It is like, again, like I was saying about Oracle of Ages and Seasons, it iterates on the previous version. It's just as weird. It really takes advantage of the technology because it's not screen by screen by screen in the same way. You have like larger areas that you can explore before you have to like move over on the screen. And it's just every aspect about it. It takes from Ocarina of Time, like the lessons learned there and like the lessons learned from the season, like Oracle's games, and just makes it probably one of the best GBA games, and it just feels good to play now. This is another one, man. I was like very impressed when I replayed it right before Tears that I was like, I don't remember this game being this fun, but I love it. And they have like the dual world thing too going on because your hat talks to you, and it also like shrinks you down. So you have like areas in the world where you can shrink down to the Minish level, and you explore the world in two different ways. It's the same map, but when you get small, you get to see it in a different light. And I just really like that mechanic for sure.
I agree. I mean, this is an incredible game. I admittedly have not beaten this game, or every time I try to start this game, something happens, and I have not even played, honestly, that much of this game. I've played a good amount, but I do know of its value in what I have played. It feels incredible to play. It has so many technical improvements, like having the L&R buttons is super fucking clutch in this game, right? I think that it's got a really great cast of characters. I think graphically it holds up incredibly well, looks really good on the OLED Switch. I think it's fantastic. It's another Hidemaro Fujibayashi joint. This is, he was really hitting his stride. I mean, this is clearly where Nintendo was like, holy shit, we got to get this guy on our team, right? it feels to me like a nice blend of like Link's Awakening and like the Oracle games. Yeah. And I think, I don't know. I think this game is fucking excellent and it's a must play on the Nintendo Switch Online service.
Well, then let's see where we think it might land. We've got a nice easy middle ground to start with. So is the Minish Cap better or worse than Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages?
I'll just go because I mean it takes the technological improvements alone just like make it easier to play in a modern context, because since I played that one and now I'm playing the Oracle games again, as much as I like the Oracle games, it's way easier to play Minish Cap and just as good. So I would say yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with the caveat that I have played the Oracle games more than I have this game, I would have to agree with you. From what I've played and the way that the game plays, I would agree. I think that this is the like ultimate of the Capcom Zelda games. Yeah, just great stuff all around.
Interesting.
Excellent. So that brings us to the next question, which is the Minish Cap better than Link's Awakening?
I still prefer Link's Awakening.
Ooh, David's hard stop on Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening, what you have, Patrick, for like the nostalgia you have for Link to the Past, I have for Link's Awakening. I've probably played that game like 50 times.
I disagree. Like, I feel like the original Link's Awakening and the DX version are so difficult to play now. Like, I honestly would prefer to play the remake over the original Link's Awakening games now. And I don't think that's fair. Because I feel like,
well, the world isn't fair, Jordan. I'm sorry. It's the way it is. The world is not fair.
That's why I'm like, dude, the Minish Cap, I replayed that recently. I'm like, this holds up. I can still play this today and I have no issues. And it is introduced some really nice new items. Like we got the mole mitts, which I think eventually kind of made their way into Skyward Sword. Like the ability to like dig, it's like really cool. And you got this gush jar that you can like,
you could dig in Link's Awakening. You got a fucking shovel, dog. What are you talking about?
Not the same. You can dig into the ground. You can't dig into the dirt in front of you. I don't know how to describe it.
I disagree.
I disagree. You cannot dig into the ground.
All right, Summer. It falls on you once again.
Oh, Jesus.
As a reminder, you went with me last time.
If you want to hedge your bets.
I know, that's what
Is that how we're doing this?
But do it how you feel. What's the question you have?
Jordan, you were debating on you said Oracle was better than Awakening. And then you didn't hesitate that this game is better than Oracle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I just have a raging nostalgia boner for Link's Awakening, which has its own merits, I'll have you know.
It also has it's also very dangerous. Oh gosh. Oh, I don't know. I think it's fun to be controversial.
Do it.
Let's put Minish Cap above Awakening.
Yes.
Objective.
I hate it, but I also love the
It's a Capcom
drama.
sandwich.
Yes.
That's part of it.
It's a Capcom sandwich. This was a Capcom joint sandwich.
For the record, it wouldn't be where it is without Link's Awakening.
Absolutely.
And it takes everything from Link's Awakening and makes it better, in my opinion. Objectively.
In my opinion, objectively. You heard it here.
Okay. Awesome. So we've got 6 of our 7 rankings done. Why don't we just go through them real quick?
No, if it's better, we got to ask, is it better?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. We don't. I am moving on too quickly. We have an important question.
Wow.
That remains.
We just assumed that.
We just
assumed that Link to the Past couldn't be touched.
It can't be touched. No, it can be touched. We can debate it. That's great. Thank you, Jordan, for stopping me from moving on. Is the Minish Cap better than A Link to the Past?
Absolutely not.
Moving on.
We needed the formality.
I'm trying to keep this
Oh my
fair and
God.
honest.
We had to have it on
I
the
love
record.
rankings episodes.
Awesome. Okay.
All right.
Let's do a recap
Point of
then.
order.
We've got up top, number 1, A Link to the Past. Number 2, The Minish Cap. Number 3, Link's Awakening. Number 4, Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. Number 5, The Legend of Zelda. Number 6, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. So we're coming up to our last game here. 2013. Has it really been 10 years since there's been a brand new 2D Zelda game? It has.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
The Legend of Zelda, A Link Between Worlds. All right. Before we rank it, any just sort of thoughts or discussion about this game? Another one I've been meaning to play. I hope they
Port it.
port it.
Yeah, this would
It'll
be
be
a
on the
great port.
Right,
Yes,
it'll be on the
bring
Super
it.
Switch when we're able to turn our Switch sideways and we're able to import our 3DS libraries.
I do think also this is the only game on this list that is not playable on the Switch, which is really unfortunate
right.
because this game is phenomenal. I was simply blown away by this game when it came out. I did not expect this game to be anywhere near as good as it was. It took the kind of like overworld and the whole kind of setting of Link to the Past and made it feel so fresh in a way that kind of reminds me of how Tears of the Kingdom did that with Breath of the Wild, right? But it also had this incredible. It brought back the sort of non-linear play the dungeons in any order style of the original Legend of Zelda as well. Add on to that all the the really cool gimmick of this game, which is the whole becoming a kind of painting on the wall and then utilizing the wall space, which has always been unused in these Zelda games, and using that as a new kind of 2D plane for you to play on, and the item renting mechanic, which at first I hated and then grew to love by the end of the game. This game is really, really good, and I think one of the biggest surprises on this list.
I totally agree, and it's 2D and 2D. No, it's interesting to see it goes back to the side scrolling again. That we got with Zelda 2, and I remember when I first saw it, I was like, are they referencing Zelda 2 in 2013? I was very confused. But yeah, no, and then how do you make a sequel to Link to the Past? One of the most beloved games of all time. How do you even start to process that? But yeah, no, the updated map, it works. And the graphics, it works. And it's got all the improvements that you want. And yeah, the item renting mechanic, I agree. At first I was like, I don't know about this, but it makes it interesting as a choose your own adventure style open world nonlinear game. And it continues the tradition started in the original Legend of Zelda game. I was just very blown away by this game. I haven't replayed it probably 5 or 6 years, but I did just recently get my copy back from a friend. And my plan is to back-to-back Link to the Past.
Oh, I thought I had your copy of this game.
No. My friend Sandrine had it, and I got it back recently.
Okay, I have another friend's copy of this game.
So if you're listening,
I'll take your copy.
Yeah, if you're listening and you do not have your copy,
yeah.
David and I trade games a lot
because someone stole my copy of this game from a party I had at my house, and I was very heartbroken. And then a friend felt bad for me and let me borrow it. And then I never gave it back. And I don't remember who it was.
That was not me.
Yeah.
No, I do have your copy of this is related, I promise. Majora's Mask. I still have your copy.
Okay, yeah. I would like that back at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I got you. Yeah. Next time I see you. Because I also got my copy of Majora's Mask back when I got my copy of A Link Between Worlds back.
Very good.
Anyway. All right.
Unless there's anything else to discuss about this game before we rank it, we can move on to trying roughly the middle of the pack, on the lower end of the middle of the pack. Is A Link Between Worlds better than Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I do think it is. Which is funny. I'm looking at reviews for this game right now, It got a lot of kind of not great reviews. Like Destructoid gave it like a 6.5 out of 10. I think Computer Games Magazine gave it a 6 out of 10. Very interesting. I would not agree with those reviews at all.
I've read the Destructoid review personally, and I just disagree. Like they just didn't like the main conceit of the game, and that's why they gave it that review. And I just disagree. Like, honestly,
dare I say those two publications that you just said, I think are biased against handheld games in the first place. Right? I think because all the other reviews are great. Well, the 3DS was under a lot of scrutiny, and games on it that were fantastic just in general did not review well from certain publications.
Yep. But yeah, I would agree. I think it's better than Oracle games.
Okay.
All right.
We'll bump it up then. Is A Link Between Worlds better than Link's Awakening? David? Can you do it?
Jordan, you're gonna hate me.
Oh, no!
Jordan, you're gonna hate me. I do think it's better than Link's Awakening.
Oh, you do think it's better?
No, I agree. I was thinking you were going the opposite. No, that's why I'm laughing. No, I agree. I think it is better.
No, I just feel bad that I like defended Link's Awakening against all these other games, but like this one, I say it's better.
That's okay.
Like,
that's how
it's just a phenomenal game. Yeah.
It was just it really blew me away. I was not expecting it to be as good as it was.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we're moving on.
Ooh.
Is A Link Between Worlds better than the Minish Cap?
All right, Jordan, you have to go first on this one.
Dude, I don't think so. I just don't think so. I don't know.
Wow. Big Minish Cap fan here.
Yeah.
Yeah, after replaying it,
That's
well,
why.
Ooh, can you be swayed?
Ooh.
I don't know. David, sway me.
I kind of think it's better than Minish Cap, dude. I think this game is like one of the best 2D Zelda games of all time. Like, I think this game is fucking great.
Why? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It just feels good. Like the whole thing just like feels so like good to play. It's like huge and like fun, and I don't know. Every moment of this game is like a pure delight. I mean, Minish Cap is the same way, right? But it's like, I don't know. Something about this game just like feels super. It's like a game feel thing for me. I just love how this game plays.
Oh, I love game feel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, I'm now remembering back to when I played it, and I literally could not put it down because my endorphins were firing off like fucking crazy. Every single moment I was like, this is so sick. This is the best. This is one of the best 2D Zelda
The
games.
dungeons are incredible in Link Between Worlds.
The dungeons are incredible.
Yeah.
You know, having replayed Minish Cap recently, the one thing that really annoyed me was it has a collection quest similar to Link's Awakening with the shells, but I can't remember what it is in the Minish Cap. And that really annoyed me. So you know what? I'm going to go with you, David. I think it is better than the Minish Cap.
Let's go. What a controversial app.
Here it is.
So here,
Yeah.
can
Patrick, you
we
about to get your feelings
dethrone?
hurt?
No. I mean, it's a sequel to it, right? Like, so let's talk about it. Is A Link Between Worlds better than A Link to the Past?
No.
Nah.
It's unanimous.
Yeah.
Wow, that was an easy one. With how much?
It's really good. It's really good. But I mean, you know,
Explain.
Link to the Past. I don't know. It's just like Link to the Past is like perfection. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it's just like it's like a.
And
it's
you
like
don't think
it's
they
like the
improved
Mona Lisa.
perfection.
Yeah, and I think this is the Mona Lisa, and A Link Between Worlds is the Vitruvian Man. Like Vitruvian Man is the shit. But Mona Lisa, yo, it's in the fucking Louvre behind like 10 inches of glass. All right, let's get real. You know, even if Vitruvian Man has a lot more going on, it is more interesting to look at, and is probably, could be said his masterwork. Everyone's got to agree that Mona Lisa is the most iconic of the Da Vinci paintings.
I remember playing that game a lot more than this. Now, I don't even know how to say it. Like, it is just so perfect in its own way that it's really hard to beat. There's really nothing else that is quite as taut as that game. Like, it's not really ever slacking for, I feel like I'm confused or lost where I'm going and I'm mad about it. You know, like everything in that game just feels like right in its right place. And it's just really hard to beat something like that. Like I said, I still think it is probably the best Super Nintendo game. So Is Link Between Worlds the best 3DS game? I don't think
It's
so.
up there.
It's up there. It's top 5, probably top 3, but it's not number 1.
Good way to compare it.
Yeah.
I like saying that, but my brain is now still stuck on though, like, just because the Mona Lisa is the best well-known one, does that objectively make it the best?
No, that wasn't like the best example in the world. I just wanted to.
No, you said it, so now we got to use it. You wanted to be like, I know another one of his paintings.
Well,
furiously Googles the Vitruvian.
I'm like, do I know what this is?
You do, you just don't know the name. Anyway.
I'm looking it up now. Oh yeah, okay.
It's this guy, right?
Yeah,
it's this guy.
Yeah, the person in 2 poses that's naked. Anyway, let's move on.
Old double dick Da Vinci. That's what I always call it.
This is an art podcast.
See, if you had just said that, I would have known right away. Oh yeah, double dick Da Vinci.
Okay, we got to close this out. We have officially ranked the 2D Zelda games, given our qualifications. I'm going to list it off here, and then we're going to move on. So, number 1 is A Link to the Past. Number 2 is A Link Between Worlds. Number 3 is The Minish Cap. Number 4, Link's Awakening. Number 5, Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages.
Oh.
Number 6, The Legend of Zelda, the original. Number 7, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link.
That's right.
There it is.
It does hurt, doesn't it, Jordan? Having Link's Awakening in the middle of the pack, that hurts.
It does.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we move on? I think we should move on, but anybody want to get some last words in here?
I think I can objectively agree with all of these.
I think if this episode has proven anything, it's that 10 years is way too long to not have a new 2D Zelda game. I think great. Dude, Tears of the Kingdom, incredible. Breath of the Wild, incredible. But dude, let's get another one out here, man. I need a new 2D Zelda game. These are some of my favorite styles of games out there. And yeah, I think absolutely we need to go back to a classic 2D Zelda.
As lucky as we are to live in the era where like not 2D, indie developers have picked up the mantle to kind of like fill the void, we need another Nintendo proper one, man. Like it's just 10 years is way too long. I mean, as a Metroid fan, when Metroid Dread finally came out, I lost my shit. I never thought I would see the day. So we have to get another 2D Zelda game.
Agreed.
Soon, you know?
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it then for our main segment. We're going to take, obviously, if you've got any thoughts, if you disagree with us,
fight us.
Please come after me.
Yeah, I know. Fight Summer. Yeah.
No. Let's all be nice about it, but express your opinions. Let us know.
Be mean, nasty. Let's go.
And with that, we're going to take another short break. And when we come back, we'll talk about the games that we've been playing recently. I'm just hopelessly addicted to Salmon Run. I play Splatoon 3, Salmon Run, whenever I think of my life in terms of, is there time to play Salmon Run right now? And then I do it or I don't. But the other game that I've played a lot of this past week is Pikmin 4. We beat the main game. We 100%ed the main game over here, which I don't think is that crazy to do. Like, it sounds like it is, but it's not really. I don't know if anybody else has been playing enough Pikmin 4 to want to jump in on this discussion, but Jordan's raising his hand. Yeah, so chime in if you got anything, but have you finished it?
I 100%ed the main game as well. And I will say there is a more robust post-game content than I was expecting. So I'm taking a small break. Yeah.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, it's really not that hard. Yeah.
I would compare it to something like Super Mario Odyssey, where not in terms of gameplay, but in terms of like you roll credits, a bunch of stuff opens up that's more challenging.
Totally.
And maybe for what you wanted, you know what I mean? Or like as a more hardcore player or whatever you want to call it. Not to say that
that's an apt comparison.
Yeah. Not to say that the main game was bad. It's just a little easy. I think it's more accessible. And that's good, and it's obviously working for them. I want to talk about this post-game stuff, but it's spoilery. watching the credits roll, something happens in the credits that's like a yes kind of moment, and then you can kind of get a sense of where the post game's going from.
I've heard the credits are pretty much halfway through the game. Would you agree with that? I
am like Jordan. Like I am actually kind of gung ho about the post game stuff. My kid has been a little bit like, I want to play Minecraft now, like because we've played some of the post game stuff. Some of it he's not as interested in, and again, I can't get into it, but I'm really excited to do. And I know we're going to do it all together, but so we've just been chipping away at it rather than like plowing through the post game stuff. So I have thoughts.
I'll ask you this: is the post game stuff more in line with Pikmin 1 and 3 than it is with Pikmin 2?
I think so. I think there is
cool.
both.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
I will say that there's both. Yeah. Like the stuff continues, but there is also stuff that is more in line with 1 and 3. Cool. And I'm not even 100% sure of the total amount of that, but there's definitely some. Mm-hmm. God, I want to talk about it, but we can't. We'll talk about it later. Okay. I'll move on. Somebody else go.
I'll go just because, I definitely rolled credits on Pikmin 4. Enjoyed that way more than I thought I was going to. I haven't played like I said, I hadn't played a Pikmin game since Pikmin 1, and I just was addicted. Every day I got up and I was like, you know what, I'm going to play like 30 to 45 minutes of Pikmin, and 2 hours later, I was like, okay, now I'm going to go do what I'm supposed to be doing for the rest of this day.
Feed my child.
But other than that, just trying to round out this battle pass on Apex Legends. I'm just going to skip over it because I'm actually really over it. I think I might be stopping playing next season. We'll see. And then, you should clap because it has been too long. And then, I've been playing Oracle of Seasons. That's kind of once I rolled credits on Pikmin, I was like, you know what, let's pick up a new game. So I'm probably about 5 or 6 hours into that. I'm about to be to the 3rd dungeon. And I got my little animal companion. He's very cute. I almost made the exact same mistake I made my first playthrough when I played it through. The first time I actually really played through was on 3DS when they released for the Virtual Console. And what is agreed upon in the fandom as the worst, you can pick 3 animal companions, is the flying bear, who I think is objectively the cutest, but apparently is the worst one to pick because there's like a kangaroo that like runs really fast, so it increases your land speed. And then there's a Dodongo that you can ride that can swim, and so you can go much faster in the water. So those are usually the ones people pick. But anyway, I almost got the bear again because I did exactly the same thing I did like 8 years ago, which means I have not changed at all.
Good for you.
So anyway, I rewound the game and played like 45 minutes of stuff I've already played just so I didn't get the bear again. Anyway, I'm getting the Dodongo this time. Dimitri is his name. Anyway, that's it. That's all I've been playing.
For what it's worth, if I could be any animal, I would be a bear with wings.
Pretty tight.
I haven't been playing too much. Like I said, I've been watching a lot of like TV and like reading books and stuff.
What?
They're still out there, books.
What are you reading?
We don't have to get into it right now, but I'm reading some like Buddhist shit at the moment. Actually, it's kind of interesting. But anyway, so I'm moving on to actual games, and I've been playing. Well, first of all, I won a Mario Kart tournament at Iron Bear again.
Another one?
I can never stop winning these fucking things. I'm like the champion of Iron Bear. I am the one to beat. Please, if you're listening to this and you live in Austin, come out to Iron Bear on Thursday nights. Actually, come out to my show, Good Fight, on Thursday nights, and then come with me afterwards to the Iron Bear, which is what I do. And you'll get some entertainment, and you'll maybe finally be able to dethrone the champion. What else? Oh, I thought this got lost in the mail, gang, and it technically did, but I got this fucking chicken McNugget from China, as you can hear in my mic. This chicken McNugget plays Tetris. This is a Chinese McDonald's toy that was released in McDonald's China. And I saw this and I was like, well, I have to have that because I'm a huge Tetris fan. And so I bought this off eBay, and then it like didn't come when they said it was going to come. And I was like, where is this? Did it get lost? And they were like, yes, we're sorry. We'll refund you. And then it came anyway. So I got my money back that I spent on it, and I got it in the mail today. So I'm very excited about that. I've been playing some Tetris on this very cheap Chinese handheld. I also have been playing Oracle of Ages, is the one that I've been playing, and I've been having a blast with that. I'm about 2 dungeons in, and I just beat the boss on the 2nd dungeon, and I'm loving that game. It is so much fucking fun. I actually missed this one when I was a kid. I only played Seasons, so it's nice to finally play the other one in the series. And then lastly, I've still been playing Fitness Boxing 2, Rhythm and Exercise. And in fact, right now, as you guys know, as you've seen during the breaks, it is very hard for me to stand up and sit down currently because they introduced ducking into the latest exercise that I was doing, which basically means I just did a shit ton of fucking squats without realizing I was doing squats the last time I did exercise. And I'm like, oh, I haven't used those muscles in a long time. So I've been walking around today like a little penguin and just looking like an idiot and groaning like I'm an old man. But man, great game. It really works out your whole body. I really recommend it if you're looking for a good at-home exercise regimen in this scorching 106-degree Austin weather. Yep, that's how hot it is, and that's how hot it's going to be for the next week. Anyway, Summer, how about you? What have you been playing?
Yeah, I guess I mentioned this before, but not much. Just touch on a couple of things that I played with my sister. We decided we wanted to just kind of hop around a lot of the multiplayer things and a bunch of the different NSO apps. And I can say that we both decided to play GoldenEye for the first time. We were like, hey, we know that this is bad, but let's play it so we can say that it's bad. And oh my God.
The controls
it was
are
good.
It was a lot of us yelling at each other. And we were like, we could see how it would be fun if you had a full 4 people too, right? When it's just 2 of you, you're like, okay. But like played Puzzle League, played Magical Drop, played, she's all about those fucking puzzle games. Like she's real good at them, which is why I was
have her hit me up.
And then just like going over the new Mario Kart tracks together, and we always got to play Splatoon together, just that kind of stuff. Yeah, and I'm still playing through Fire Emblem, like on the Game Boy Color. I picked that back up again today, and that's probably what I'll be playing for a minute, I think. Well, I say that I just did download. Oh, what's that game that just came out today? Venba.
Oracle of Asians.
No, I downloaded. I got Venba, which is like the cooking family game.
Oh, I'm really excited to hear
play.
your thoughts on that. Yeah, that looks awesome.
I'll hopefully have thoughts on that one for next week. Yeah.
Yeah, that one looks like delicious. Like
literally. I
so
know.
Good.
Yeah.
Love it.
awesome. Well, that's going to do it for this episode on us ranking the 2D Zelda games. I want to give thanks to MilkyWay.co, who does our website, and thanks to Corduroy, who does our music. If you're looking for me, Patrick, out there online, you can find me most places as PDYX.
I'm pretty much ever on the internet at Monolith Fiji.
You can find me at Weebwitched pretty much everywhere.
You can find me at Boardan.
There you go. That's where you can find us. Those are our handles. We did it. This is very natural. Also, if you'd like to find our show on social media, we are at Switch Headz on Elon Musk's hellscape. That gets worse every day, and somehow I have not left. You can also find us at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. We are on our website at www.switchheadz.com, and we've got a Discord, which is the only social media platform you'll ever need, and our Facebook group, both of which are awesome communities. We'd love to have you in both of those. We'll have descriptions. We'll have links to both of those in the description of this show. That's going to do it for this episode on ranking the 2D Zelda games. We did it. We eked another ranking episode out of the 2 franchises we've done ranking episodes on. I love doing these episodes. If you guys enjoyed it, please let us know what you thought.
Tell us what franchise to do next.
Yeah, we've got some ideas, but like We'd love to hear more. Other than that, that's going to do it, gang. You guys know the drill. We got another great episode for you next week, so don't touch that dial. Stay safe out there. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. Fucking play Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. Play all these fucking games. Let's petition Nintendo to put Link Between Worlds on the Nintendo Switch family of systems. But other than that, guys, we love you guys very much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.